All right, let's get into it today. As you may be hearing, I'm in the airport traveling today, so this is going to be a little bit different small business news than I normally do. And again, for those who don't know, this is the program where I share information I share with my clients every single day here, Monday through Friday on the YouTube. So let's get into this. It's June 12th, and a couple of things for you today. We've got California wants to legislate a new additive to tortillas. We're gonna get into that, and that's just as a reminder to everybody that even small businesses, they never get a chance to um, rest for a moment, let their guard down. There's always a new regulation or something new coming out to keep track of them. So we'll see what that's all about, and then we're gonna get into the NFIB, which is the National Federation of Independent Business Owners. They're out with their May small business optimism index numbers. And as always, we cover that every single month here because it is an important set of numbers to look at. So with that, let's get into it here. As always, links to every article that we discuss here is going to be in the description. So all right, so let's get into this here. California tortilla bill poses threat to small businesses. The Assembly Bill 1830 would require folic acid in masa flour. Small batch tortilla makers worry it'll impact costs, cultural traditions, and then the study fortifying masa may raise folic acid by 20% in Mexican Americans. All right, a new California state bill. This is from June 11th on, again, News Nation now. If passed, would mandate corn masa flour makers add folic acid to their products. While the bill, proposed by Assembly Member Joaquin Arambula, I'm probably messing that up, is promoted as a public health measure, the cost could disproportionately impact small businesses. Assembly Bill 1830 would require manufacturers to add zero point 0.7 milligrams of folic acid per pound of corn masa flour to their products such as tortillas, tamales, and taco shells by January 2026. California State Assembly Committee on Health passed the bill in March, and the Appropriations Committee approved the bill in April. It's headed to the full assembly for a vote, so chances are good it's gonna pass. The legislation will likely significantly impact small businesses and entrepreneurs. For instance, small batch tortilla makers like La Princesita, Princesitita, Princesitita. I know I'm not saying that right. Are concerned. The Los Angeles Times reported the maker used a method only involved corn masa, water, and lime. Culinary heritage date back millennia, per the outlet. Since 1998, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration has required folic acid fortification in enriched grain products like pasta and bread. It has led to a 35% reduction in neural tube defects, according to the CDC. However, data from the California Department of Public Health shows only 28% of Latinas reported taking folic acid before pregnancy, compared to 46% of white women. Mandatory fortification of masa can increase folic acid intake by up to 20% among among Mexican Americans, the CDC study suggested. So again, with that, that's just one of the things to keep in mind here. Let alone, I'm not going to get into the subject of overreach and nanny state type stuff. That's not what this is about. It's simply just about understanding that the constant change that business owners are up against to, have some sort of control over their product. Again, it's just something that they have to keep in mind of, and they have to be very wary of for those changes. And it's going to be a incremental cost, but it's ultimately is going to the larger manufacturers are going to be able to absorb that cost much better than the local small businesses and the batch producers. So just something to be aware of there, folks. Again, another thing we are always keeping an eye on here on small business news, what the government's doing to continue to make life a little bit more challenging for our small business folks out there. All right, let's get to the next piece here, which is the NFIB, which is again, the Small Business Uncertainty Index reaches the highest level since 2020. And again, you got to remember this is so this is for May, so this is a month in arrears. And today we just had some cooler. They were showing that the Fed's version of inflation, the CPI that they follow, dropped to 3.3% today. That doesn't mean that in any way, shape, or form that inflation for producers and the small businesses has dropped, because, well, again, especially when you're dealing commodities. But anyways, let's get into this. Inflation remains the top small business concern or small business problem. And this is from June 11th, so this is from yesterday. The NFIB Small Business Optimism Index reached the highest reading of the year in May at 90.5, and 0.8% increase, but still the 29th month below the historical average of 98. So you can see we're off by, still almost a good, 8% on that. So something to keep in mind there. The uncertainty index rose 9 points to 85, the highest reading since November 2020. 22% of owners reported that inflation was their single most important problem in operating their businesses, unchanged from April, and the top business problem among owners. And that's above labor, right? I mean, we've been hearing consistently that labor is the main issue, one of the big issues that businesses are dealing with. And you can see the cost of goods are still the main issue that they're dealing with. The small business sector is responsible for production of over 40% of GDP and employment in a crucial portion of the economy. NFIB chief economist Bill Dunkelberg still, uh, again, fairly odd parents. I always go back to that anyways. But the 29 consecutive months, for 29 consecutive months, small business owners have expressed historically low optimism, and their views about future business conditions are at the worst level seen in 50 years. So let's get into the key findings. A net negative 8% seasonally adjusted of owners view the current inventory stocks as too low, down 4 points from April and the lowest reading since October 1981. So again, owners plan to hire rose 3 points in May to a seasonally adjusted 15%, the highest reading of the year, which makes sense. Seasonally adjusted, a net 28% plan price hikes in May, up 2 points from April, and that had been up in the previous month. So there's a consistent increase, a next wave. While yes, CPI may be lowering, but for consumers and for those of us going to be dealing with retail, you can expect that to continue. Uh, Inflation to be showing up at the register. And 6% of owners reported that financing was their top business problem up in May, up 2 points from April. And the last time financing as a top business problem was this high was June of 2010. And the U.S. government's coming to the rescue on that. They've got we talked about it this weekend. They're going to be offering some additional loan products through their 7A small business thing. You can go check out. Link will be in the description to that one as well. As reported, the NFIB Biz monthly job reports a seasonally adjusted net 18% plan to raise compensation in the next month, down 3 points from April and the lowest reading since March of 2021. So wages are going up, but at a lower percentage. And 42% seasonally adjusted of all owners reported job openings they could not fill in the current period. 58% of owners reported capital outlays in the last 6 months, up 2 points from April. And of those making expenditures, 40% reported spending on new equipment, 25% on new vehicles, 16% improved or expanded facilities. 11% spent money on new fixtures and furnitures, and 6% acquired new buildings or land for expansion. 23% seasonally adjusted plan capital outlays in the next 6 months. All right, so I want to kind of get in here the next spot. So with this, businesses are still spending. All my clients, they still have money going out. They're still having to grow their businesses. It's what we're working on. So their money's still going out. It's just that they're not being able to get as much as they want because prices have been gone up. Now, price hikes were the most frequent in retail, 55%, basically 55% higher versus 6% lower. Finance, 50% higher versus 3% lower. In construction, 42% higher, 9% lower. And then manufacturing and services. Seasonally adjusted, a net 28% planned price hikes in May. So again, it usually takes a few months for that to show up in CPI. Again, these consistent price hikes that they're having, expect to see, it's going to keep pushing the CPI higher, but it's going to be, 3 to 6 months down the road. All right, so the next piece here is the frequency of reports of positive profits trends was a net negative 30%. So let me say it again. The frequency of reports of positive profit trends was a net negative 30%. So it went backwards 30%. 3 points worse than April and a very poor reading. Of those reporting lower profits, they blamed weaker sales, rise in the cost of materials, labor costs, and then 11%, which is the worst one to see, is the cited lower selling prices. That deflation, if that catches on, it's going to be a big problem for small businesses. So for owners reporting higher profits, 41% credited sales volumes, 23% usual seasonal change, and 10% of higher selling prices. And the last bit I just want to get into here is the 3% of owners that reported that all their borrowing needs were not satisfied. 29% reported all credits needs met, and 58% said they were not interested in a loan. So really 3% where they're not getting their loans satisfied, that's pretty healthy. That's not a terrible thing. Now with this, net 6% reported their last loan was a lot harder to get than previous attempts, which that makes sense considering where we're at in the higher for longer in the interest rates. Because again, banks are not trying to loan money at the moment. It's not something that they want to necessarily be doing here. So for reasons, and we've covered that in other spots here. So the last bit here, I just want to get into for those who may be curious about, how I help businesses grow faster than ever thought possible. Take a moment and check out summitbusinessguys.com. You can go here and learn more about, again, a little bit about me, what I do, learn just a few of the businesses that I help in and around West Michigan and around the country with their businesses. Learn more about the Pinnacle Business Operating System that my clients use to grow their businesses. See more about me here in my Facebook, and then also my latest YouTube videos and stuff that I have here as well. So with that, uh, thank you for hanging out today. Hopefully, I earned your subscription. If so, make sure you hit that notification bell so you know when I come live to you. With that, take care, and I will see you tomorrow.